Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you the key features and settings you need to know about Plerdy. It's all really simple. Just follow these steps. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. If you have any questions while watching the video, just drop them in the comments below.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Welcome to your first steps with Plerdy. Right after you create your account, you'll see a page with a checklist-style guide on what to set up and which tools to use. First things first, make sure you've added the tracking code. You usually do this during the first step of signing up, but if you skipped it, no worries. You'll need to add the main tracking code. And if you plan to run A/B testing, you might need a second code. You can install this tracking code through plugins for platforms like WordPress and Shopify, which offer automatic code installation for e-commerce tracking, standard methods like FTP, Google Tag Manager, or Cloudflare. After adding the code, it's crucial to check if it's working. Open your site in incognito mode. Make a few clicks on text and page elements. Go to Plerdy, open Heatmaps setup and activate the report. Then check under Heatmaps clicks and open the report at the bottom of the page. If all is good, you'll see the click data. If not, make sure the tracking code is correctly added. Clear your browser's cache. Check if your server is blocking data recording. Next, add your time zone in the Plerdy settings to ensure data consistency with other platforms like your CRM system. If you need to add new users, they must first create their account. After that, you can add their emails to the Plerdy. You can also add new websites, which will then appear in the table. It's also crucial to ensure the tracking code is added without duplicates. Now that everything's set, you're ready to move on to the next video. Once you've successfully installed the tracking code, data collection starts automatically. According to your chosen service package, this includes clicks for the heat map and SEO data. Then, depending on your site's goals and tasks, you can move on to different sections. You can analyze video sessions, map clicks, conduct audits, and run A/B tests. Next, I'll share some additional settings. These aren't mandatory, but depend on your specific needs. Head over to the Settings section, where you can choose your Plerdy package. Here you can also block IP addresses. This part is straightforward. Setting up user groups. You can divide users into authorized and unauthorized groups. This is valuable for analyzing different user behaviors on your site. Reports and notifications. Set how often you receive reports, which can be sent weekly or daily. Adding slashes. Sometimes a website doesn't have a 301 redirect for URLs with or without a slash. If you're seeing errors like 404 pages because of missing redirects, you can activate additional settings to avoid these issues. Cross-domain tracking. For multiple domains like mysite.com and bestsite.net, you can use one tracking code for integrated analytics. This allows data collection in one report and maintains a single session across these domains. Excluding pages. You can exclude certain pages from analysis, which is useful for large sites with varying data collection needs. Subdomains. If your site uses subdomains, simply apply the same tracking code as on the main site. Data from all subdomains will be collected automatically, and reports will be in one account. In conclusion, if you have any questions, feel free to share them in the comments. You can also reach out to support or leave your ideas for improving Plerdy tools. Today, we're going to dive into how you can understand your website users better with Plerdy's Heatmaps. This cool tool isn't just about seeing where people click, it's about improving your pages to sell more and make your visitors happier. Let's get started. Step 1. Setting up and collecting data. First up, we need to head to the Setup section. Here you'll find key settings to track clicks. By setting up a code on your site, Plerdy automatically picks up the top 5 pages that grab the most attention. All this data is saved, so you can always look at it later. You can choose to turn reports on or off for specific pages, depending on your needs. It's good to focus on just the key pages that matter to your goals. Step 2. Filtering and customizing. Decide which countries you want to collect data from, especially if you know that some traffic doesn't help your sales. This helps you focus your efforts better. Step 3. Analyzing the data. Choose the right period to examine your data. It could be the last week, 30 days, or even 6 months. This will help you understand how user behavior changes over time. Start with today's data if you've just added the tracking code. Step 4. Looking at clicks and behavior. Not all users click on things. Sometimes you might see sessions with no clicks at all. That doesn't mean they were not interested. Users might be scrolling or moving their mouse around without clicking. It's important to look at these sessions because they can show issues with the user experience or that the content isn't engaging enough. Step 5. Deep dive analysis. Different channels bring in different users. It's important to separate and look at the traffic to see how visitors from different sources interact with your website. For example, a user coming from Google's organic traffic will behave differently from someone who visits your site directly. Knowing this helps us tailor the site to each type of visitor. First click testing. This method helps us figure out what elements users click on first when they enter a page. Do they click on search, buy now, or other important buttons? Understanding this is key to knowing how easy and effective your interface is. Some user groups, especially in areas requiring registration, like games or SaaS, need special attention. Their behavior can be different, so it's crucial to analyze them separately, especially those coming from mobile devices where traffic is often higher. Step 6. Page optimization. This report shows where your potential customers clicked as they scrolled down. If there are too many clicks, you might need to refresh the data, turning the report off and on again. This report goes deeper and is more accurate about clicks than what competitors offer. Your site has many dynamic elements, such as sliders, tabs, and accordions. This report divides each page into 5 sections, helping you identify where clicks are concentrated. You can find out which elements catch your attention and which are overlooked. This helps us understand where to change the design or structure of the page. Scrolling is a key indicator of how users interact with your content. Analyze how users scroll through main pages, categories, products, and blogs. It's very important to understand which areas of a page grab attention and which might be ignored. Some users might move their mouse around, especially on large monitors where they don't need to scroll much to see the content. Analyzing the cursor can give you insights into how users interact with your site. It's very important to understand which elements users click on before purchasing. Detailed e-commerce tracking can assign a monetary value to each click, helping us understand what exactly encourages a user to make a purchase. Let's consider elements that don't influence conversions, like an email block that doesn't get clicks. This information helps decide whether to keep such an element or replace it with more effective components. Use the data you collect to analyze the effectiveness of different elements on the pages. If certain buttons or blocks don't draw attention, try optimizing or retesting them using A/B testing. Conclusion. Use tools like ux.plerdy.com to take screenshots of entire web pages and share them with your team or clients. This makes it easier to review and discuss the results, helping you make quick decisions on improving. And there you have it, folks. Now, you know how to use Plerdy's Heatmaps to analyze and optimize your website effectively. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit like if you found this video helpful. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, let's dive into our video session. First things first, after you've put the tracking code on every page, it's time to check the settings. Remember, heat maps are recorded automatically, but video sessions need to be set up. You likely won't analyze thousands of videos, so tailor them to your needs. For example, maybe you want to check the home page or see how users behave on product pages if you run an online shop, or on service pages for a local business. The second step is picking the pages to analyze. Here we add a slash and we can activate a recording rule. If you need to analyze a specific link, like if your team is working on a project this sprint, just choose it. You can also select parts of the URL that repeat across many pages, like category, all products, or all categories, with subcategories like shoes. There are other options, like all blogs containing certain keywords. After adding, we activate this rule, it saves automatically, and there's nothing else to remove. Look at all the rule types you can use. The third step is about extra settings. You don't have to do them, but sometimes they really make sense. For instance, if you have an international business with customers from many countries, you can analyze them all at once. But if your business is more local and most customers are from one country or even a specific city or region, set a filter for that country. Just add it to the search and you're all set. Regarding user groups, this is especially relevant for SaaS businesses or companies with lots of registered users. You can analyze those who register often and new users who haven't created an account yet. These groups are added automatically when you input this information. I'll cover this part in detail later. Let's move on to the fourth step of our video. We'll look at how long each video session should be. There's an option to skip recording videos shorter than 5 seconds because sometimes they don't add much value. However, analyzing how many sessions are under 5 seconds is crucial because it might show issues with your traffic sources. For example, if you launch the Google Ads campaign and 70% of the users stay less than 5 or 10 seconds, it suggests a big problem. Maybe the campaign settings are off or there are errors. Another key point is the site's usability, UX. If users can't figure out where they are, you need to analyze their behavior on desktop and mobile to form accurate hypotheses. Sometimes it's good to add tracking events, like setting a minimum number of events per session. Also, pay attention to mouse movements. Most of the time, users actively use their mouse. Another thing to consider is scrolling. Sometimes users just scroll through the page using their mouse wheel or touchpad, and that's it. You might find that only 50% of interactions are recorded in the heat maps. It's important not to set the thresholds too low, like just 1, because then you'll have very few video sessions leading to more support calls asking where their videos are. Also, data entry should be considered in input forms. If users are typing something, it can be a unique activity indicator. For instance, in an e-commerce site, typing in the search bar might cover many pages and account for, say, 10% of the activity. But don't set the thresholds too high if it's just 1 page. However, measuring only those who type something makes sense. This approach allows for easy data sorting, but also limits the number of recorded videos. Fifth step, setting up a rule for automatically deleting old video sessions. Over time, old recordings become irrelevant, so it's better to focus on new data. Usually, keeping recordings for 3 months or even half a year is enough. This period allows you to efficiently check the video sessions, build hypotheses, and look for anomalies. Implementing this rule is a crucial step in the analysis process. Let's go to step 6. We're talking about events that can be moved to a separate setting in our system. Right now they're here, but they're similar to events we'll discuss in more detail in the next video. To show you how it works, let's open demo page 2 and try to find what we need. Every page has a search element that repeats so that we can add this event. We look for the parent element, say input group, copy it, and paste it here. Yes, the element repeats once, which is great. Now, if we create an event called search button and add a dot before it, we can track all clicks on this element on any page. This is called custom events, and you'll be able to see exactly where the click happened in the report. This saves a lot of time because you quickly analyze videos where this event occurs and those where it does not. What do we see now on this page? Step 7 involves analyzing the average time users spend on a page. This is important information, especially when there are few sessions with long durations. It could indicate problems. If users linger on a page, it's necessary to dig deeper. Note that heat maps don't give you information about time or the areas without clicks. A video session can fill in this gap, answering why this happens. Also, sessions without any events are a red flag. It might point to issues with the traffic source or the page itself. Another critical aspect is sessions lasting less than 15 seconds. Usually, it's impossible to understand or purchase anything in such a short time. If users leave quickly because of high prices or another immediately noticeable detail, it's crucial to analyze and consider this. Pay special attention to new traffic from ad campaigns on Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, or SEO. This behavior should not be the norm. Step 8. Once you've reviewed and analyzed the videos, choose the ones you no longer need and simply delete them. It's easy to do, and you have this option. If you need to share certain videos with colleagues, just open Access, copy the link, and send it to them. It's very straightforward. Also, if there are videos you want to keep for later review, add them to your favorites. This is also quite convenient because your favorite videos will appear in a separate filter where you can easily review both selected and unselected ones. Now let's move on to what else we see in the chart. Step 9. Let's go back to the top of the table. You can sort the data from top to bottom, which is very handy and helps you easily identify the best or worst video sessions for deeper analysis. You also have the quick option to view information about the device, operating system, browser, and traffic source right in the table. This helps you decide which video sessions to analyze first. You can export the data if you need to do a more detailed analysis. Also note that the export feature works well with tools like Google Sheets, making further sorting and analysis easier. All this makes the process convenient and efficient. Step 10. Go back to the interface's top part for filtering data. Typically, the data is used as the main filter. Select the calendar and set the desired period. This could be any month, like May or October. It's also important to check previous periods, especially if you previously faced limits and videos were not recorded. The filter in this system allows you to analyze information in detail, from traffic channels to determining whether users are new or returning. Use favorites for quick access to important video sessions. Other easy-to-use filters include standard and custom events. For instance, if you created a button as a custom event, you can quickly find it in the table or through videos you've already reviewed. You can also sort videos by various parameters like duration, time of day, and so on, to better understand which types of videos need analysis. Step 11. Let's take a close look at a video session. We go to a specific session and see how it works. It starts, and we have information displayed on the timeline. Here it's clear where and when different events happened. After watching, you can easily switch to another page if you need to. Also, if you've created a report, you can interact with it. Click on items, edit, or even delete. It's also important to pay attention to filtering, as events can overlap each other, and without proper filtering, you might miss important details. Step 12. Let's analyze something called rage clicks. This is when your potential customer clicks on a certain element multiple times out of frustration, usually indicating that the element has a technical issue or isn't working properly. This could be a sign of an error. It's important to check this in different browsers and settings, then pass the task to the tech team for further analysis and to fix the bug. For easier analysis, add a special tag to the event, like by product type or color, so you can later easily find and filter these video sessions in the table. You can also assign this task to a specific team member, including their email or name, and leave a comment if needed. Now that we've finished with the video sessions, let's move on to the next video. Next, we're going to take a look at something cool. I'll show you what's here and how to set up events that belong to the heat map. So before you start setting up these events, you should turn on the reports I showed you in the last video. It's pretty simple. Just turn them on and then they'll show up right here in this table. Step 1. How do we do this? Here are the instructions right here. We need to create the event we want to analyze. Usually there's only one option, especially if that element appears on many pages. Let's look at an example. The menu might be the same on every page, even the same cross or drop-down, maybe because it's an online store. The search box and other parts might repeat on every page too, while things like sliders or certain buttons might only be on the home page. Other buttons might appear on many pages, but differ on the main and other pages. It's important to remember and understand this. In this case, you might want to add, for example, this search function, as I show in the video. This setup is exactly what we'll use in other cases too. Step 2, for example, we really want to see if people are clicking this dropdown. We need to find the right class. Let's look for a higher level class called dropdown. It's risky because it's a very common name. We see dropdown 9 times. It could theoretically appear 9 times on a page, either as part of a specific class or on its own. So we might want to avoid using it or check if it's truly unique. Step 3, let's look further. We have a BTN primary dropdown, and we can use its ID, which should always be unique. If the ID isn't unique, that's a developer's mistake, but usually it should be. For example, we wrote all category or some other name we need, and we must add it like this and include summing children, because this will automatically sum all the child elements in the classes. This happens automatically, so remember, You don't need to turn this on. Here it is, the whole part, with all the elements inside. If there's nothing there, we don't need to include it. In this case, there's nothing, just the name all category, so we can remove this part, or it won't affect anything. We've saved it, but if there's a duplicate, it won't add it. Step 4. Here in this report, this information helps us see which pages get more clicks on certain elements. This way, we can tell how these elements impact and whether potential customers use them. If there aren't many clicks, what should we do? We might need to change the color, the call to action, modify the element, or add something new. Sometimes it could also be an issue with the traffic source. This tool is also valuable because you can see all historical events when the tracking code is installed. That's it for this video. Let's move on to the next one. Now, let's move on to setting up the funnel. This report helps us understand at which steps potential customers drop off. To do this right, we need to know which landing page the traffic is going to. Step 1. First, let's identify the target landing page receiving the traffic. You launch an Ad campaign, say, for the shoes category on your online store. Now, you must choose the exact link to this category. I have some tips right here. You pick the specific one and also select Shoes. Step 2. Next, you choose all the sections where our product is located. You select this, we call it Products, and add it. Step 3. The following step is, for example, the cart. You add cart. Step 4. Next, we might add checkout. But here's a very important point. If you add checkout like this, it won't work because it includes parts from a previous step. We can't do that because it repeats the previous step. You must find a unique element for each step. Each step must not include any part of the previous step. If you add this, that's enough, completely enough. It's crucial that each step is unique and doesn't repeat any previous one. Step 5. All right, now we save. After that, we've created a funnel. Everything's okay. Here it is, and you can see how it looks. We can look here at the tests we are running and understand which page we're losing users on. We see the first, second, and third steps by devices where the information flows. We can also add details by traffic channels or countries, and we know what percentage drops off. This initial report won't tell you why they're dropping off, but it will show you that there's a problem with this page, the traffic channel, or the device. Next, you'll analyze more detail using heat maps or video sessions. Let's move to the next video. Next, a cool tool for online stores analyzes where users click before purchasing. Step 1. We switch to e-commerce tracking. This is for those who have an online store on Shopify, WordPress, or WooCommerce. It sets up automatically, so you don't need to do anything extra. If that's not the case, you can find a guide on what your developer needs to do extra. This guide is right here. You can go over it and read through it, and your developer can integrate it in just about 10 minutes. With this example, it's all easy to do. Step 2. Now we move on to the analysis. We will see information about where a potential customer clicked before purchasing. This information is super important and valuable. It helps you understand which elements are crucial and need attention and which are not useful. You can ignore, remove, change, or delete the less important elements. Here we see that each element is assigned a specific amount. This tells us that a potential or existing customer really clicked on this element before purchasing. You can see this information across the whole layout to understand in detail where the clicks are happening because some elements might be hidden. See here, 26. Here are 5 products. Here just a sum. This sum here, that sum there. This information is really interesting and will help you analyze user behavior better and better. It's truly, truly valuable. Let's move on to the next video. All right, let's talk about analyzing the macro conversion, which is the next to last step related to conversions. Here you can add a link. The final link, for instance, could be a thank you page. You just put in the link, either part of it or the full URL, which should be the last page after purchase. After that, you'll get the same kind of info as you do with e-commerce tracking. This report is especially useful for business websites offering services. You'll be able to see what actions and clicks happened before a potential customer placed an order on your website, right where they clicked just before ordering. It's essentially the same report. But here, there's no money tied to any site element. You can see it right here, this report, and it's really straightforward to analyze. This info is also really valuable for local businesses and service websites. Let's move on. Now, let's move on to the free A/B testing tool. You have added 2 tracking codes, Plerdy, to the website, so now we go to the A/B testing section and decide which page to test. For example, I think the pricing page is a good page for testing. You can create it here. Since I already have it, I won't duplicate it. I go here and enter the name, so the name goes here. Then we enter the URL we want to test and check this first version. We need to check for the green arrow to make this active and allow changes. Here are the setup instructions in the test button. Since I have everything set up, I will click again to see how it works. We need to wait a few seconds. When the check is done, if we see the green icon, it means the code is added. If not, we must add the main and A/B testing codes. This is explained here. If we can't add it ourselves, you send it to the developer. After we've done all this, we can save everything and continue setting up. We saved everything, and now look here. We refreshed the page and we saw 4 changes. Everything is okay, and we set up the devices we need. Step 2. Now this button is unlocked, and we can confidently click here and see what's on the page we want to modify. So here's the first option. We click here to select. We can immediately choose any element we need. If we don't want this one, or maybe not this block, we just click here and it automatically disappears. All good. When we want to change the name of a dynamic element, like a clickable button or a drop-down link, we choose this interactive mode. We lock it, and then we can confidently select this element here, there, or anywhere in the dynamic item we can select. Otherwise, it will switch to the next part, which is important. Since we've chosen something we want to change, it's very important to add a maximum of 2 changes, ideally just 1. Suppose we want to see if people will click more on this element. Based on a heat map showing that this element gets poor clicks, what can we do? We could change the color, for example. Let's make it red. We've actually changed it, so this might affect the clicks. How can we measure this? We've saved everything. If needed, we can change anything, any element, or hide what I already showed. This is for this entire page. If we want to add some text somewhere or change something specific with CSS, we can select this element right here, choose the element, and add any text we need inside so it changes and the user can see it. This might impact a button, so this is our hypothesis at work. Step 3. After we've done all this, we can save everything and continue setting up. We saved everything, and now look here. We refreshed the page and we saw 4 changes. Everything is okay, and we set up the devices we need. This is mostly done for all devices, but sometimes the layout differs, so we need to change it separately. That's fine. What do we set here? Now we need to add the goal. If there is a link, we set the goal or the final URL and want to see how it changes. Suppose we change the call to action on this button or the color of this button. Then it will lead to another page. We then add a part here. If without HTTPS, it says the rule so that it will be part of the URL. If with HTTPS, it will be the exact link. We saved and added in this case. What did we do? We have an event. Step 4. Now, I'll show you how to add a target event. On Windows, press F12, or on a MacBook, press FN plus F12. Or you can right-click with your mouse and select Inspect. Next, look for the needed class or ID. Of course, there's a more detailed guide available here. Here we have a class that we want to measure. We go here, add this event at the bottom, type it in, and add this corresponding class. All set, save. It will appear here. See, here it is. We select it, and it automatically saves. Be sure to write down exactly what we changed, and we can add the color change and details. So add everything we need here and save it all accordingly. Step 5. Another way to start testing is to choose here. This is split testing or redirect testing. When we select this option, we add our new URL here. For example, we have a pricing page, and we can write here that we have a new version. Let's call it Pricing New. And that's it. We save, and then it will automatically redirect. We don't need to change anything on the page. It's the whole page with many changes. We want to see how different groups of changes affect our goal. The goal can be the same as what I'm showing, and it will work well. So we can say the test is ready to start. Click Start, and then the test will run. I won't start it now because there are some errors I made. And now, for example, we can check how the report looks. Here is a report. An example. We can see what was launched. For example, it was launched on the main page. It's working, and there is no end date. You can add a goal and see the event goal. How many sessions, scrolls, and average session time? In this case, it worked, so our hypothesis was correct. We see how it works. Then we can look at the devices and traffic. It's really cool. Also, we can clearly see that version B often loses because the hypothesis was wrong and users didn't like it. This saves a lot of time and money. See you in the next videos. All right, let's dive into artificial intelligence now. This report automatically tells you what needs to be improved on your website pages. But there's a catch. You need at least 100 visitors on a page. Yes, at least 100 visitors, and then you can analyze everything. Unfortunately, if there aren't 100 visitors, AI won't be able to do the analysis. This applies to any single page over a specific period, any period, a custom period, or a longer period. Next, if you see that the pages are ready for analysis, you can open them. Choose the language you need, whether it's on a mobile or a PC, and create a report. Once the report is created, you'll get advice on what you need to analyze. Why exactly, what's going on with the traffic channels, which reports to check, and where to go. This is just the beginning. We're constantly developing this feature, and you'll have more and more information about the traffic you're getting and how to improve your site to really boost your conversion rates. You can delete or purchase additional reports as needed. Share all this info, not just with colleagues in your team, and of course, download it. Let's talk about pop-up forms now. There are several types of these forms, and they're grouped into categories. Some are for generating leads, increasing sales, and optimizing conversion rates. Step 1. Say you have a special offer, and you want to tell potential customers on certain pages that your offer is amazing. If you target it to a specific audience, like showing bags with related products to those interested in bags, or shoes with related products like shoe cleaning kits, it can be super effective. Also, gamification works really well, like a fortune wheel that gives out discounts and attracts leads. If you have custom offers or specific rules, you can create your own banner of the right size and place it at the top, bottom, or side of the page where it fits best. This also works great for your target audience. It's using feedback to analyze how users feel about your website, how satisfied they are with your managers, and so on. Depending on your type of business, you might conduct a survey or just get a feel for how much they like and would recommend your services to friends. And this is super cool and perfect. I'll show you how it looks. This great video banner is a really cool pop-up that fully engages your users. You can also customize your pop-up with specific fields and use it to collect contacts, generate leads, submit forms, and more. Step 2. Now that we've created our pop-up form, let's look at an example. We have different pop-up forms, and each can be customized separately. Plerdy pop-up form is divided into 3 parts. You've added a video here. You can include YouTube Shorts, or even add a TikTok link that appears automatically. Next, you've added a button. Decide where you want this button to send your potential customers. Add titles and text. It's all pretty straightforward. You set it up to look just right in terms of design, and next we'll move on to the rules. Step 3. Let's dive into the rules about what can happen with the button. Initially, we have a button like this, right here at the top, or we can remove that button. Then it's all about the pop-up rules, when to show it, after what triggers to display it, and which part of the screen to use. This pop-up can also be shown based on traffic channels, which is quite handy and sometimes necessary. Mostly it's set up based on which links we display it on, whether it's a specific link or several links. Our rule is that if we add it to just this specific link, it will only show there. This is useful if you want to do something like embedding a YouTube iframe at a specific spot on a particular page. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to do it because everything is fully controlled by link rules. It's all pretty straightforward. We've set everything up and can now start publishing in test mode and for all potential customers. There's a keynote. At least follow the 1, 2, 3 EWAL rule because all rules need to add up. Otherwise, the pop-up will rarely appear, and we don't want that. It should appear more frequently. For instance, showing the pop-up for just 10 to 15 seconds is enough to catch a potential customer's attention. A crucial rule is to display it only to the target audience to ensure it's effective. We've launched it for everyone now, checked the rules again, and everything's set for testing with specific users. And that's really all there is to it. We've double-checked, and it's all correct. Any other pop-up forms we've created are set up in the same steps. It's all very, very simple. What will we see next? We're looking at general information like the number of displays, click-through rates, and leads or clicks. We've also got context going into reports and data on which countries have interacted. All pretty straightforward. All right, if we need to send emails we got from a pop-up form to an email tool, you should use an API. Let's move on. Let's dive into the SEO audit. This is an automatic SEO audit that happens every day. The great thing is it doesn't overload the server, even when there are many pages on the site. This is super handy because you can see daily changes on your pages where there's traffic. This way, you're keeping, as they say, your finger on the pulse and improving your site and its pages from an SEO perspective. What will we see here? For example, we can open a page or look at a report for a specific date. Here, we've opened the date and have versions for mobile and PC. What do we see? Let's focus on the title. Sometimes it might be short, sometimes it's just right, and other times not so much. This is where we need to pay attention. There's no description, which is a problem. However, the H1 tag is there and it's all good. About the meta tag, in some cases it's there. In others it's not, but that's okay because sometimes these tags can be added to the file of robots.txt. And of course, we should check the canonical. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it can be ignored, depending on the page type, and so on. You can check the H1s. Having too many is a mistake. There are no H2s in this case, which is a problem, although sometimes they say they shouldn't be there, so you can get a lot of information about your pages. Then we move to content analysis. We see how many general-wise parameters of your content metrics are on the page, the volume, the number of words, their uniqueness, and how well your copywriter wrote them. Sometimes it might even be written by ChatGPT, check for stop words, check how much fluff, wateriness ratio there is, and so on. So you can check all this right here, including what stop words are found on this page. It's also useful to see how well it's optimized and compare it with competitors. Relevance is about the keywords that are in the top ranks, whether they appear in the title, description, or H1, which is also important. Optimization standards, duplicates, or if there are similar pages, in this case they are present, so you need to check this. And also, how good is the overall score for your page? It's also interesting that you can see the history of changes here. For example, you can choose a date and you'll see all the information from previous days. This is very convenient, interesting, and good for analysis. Just select, check, and that's it. Unfortunately, the demo version has little data, but let's continue. Depending on your package, you can see historical data over a long period, which is convenient and very interesting. For example, sometimes a developer might accidentally delete or change the H1, title, or description. You can see all these changes because these are live working sites. Such moments can happen due to mistakes by specialists, the team, or an agency, but you can easily control everything here. See you next time in the next video. Now let's move on to the tool to get data from Google Search Console. Before we get that information, we need to go to SEO settings like this. Then go to the Google Search Console tab and follow the instructions. It's simple steps to open access and check the data. After that, we will return to this page and update the data here. For example, we updated the data and now have this information. We will see all the data we received from the Google Search Console. This is very convenient because you can quickly find the groups of pages you need here. You have filters. For example, you can quickly add everything here, check how your URL groups are falling or growing and what is changing, and add the segments you need. It's quite interesting, convenient, and fast. You will save time as an SEO specialist and your team too. You can check the relevant keywords. Here are the keywords. You can check which ones are most repeated, which ones can be improved, what can be done with them, where they are repeated, impressions, etc. You can also optimize everything nicely in the title. Also, the group of missing keywords is a great tool. Very cool. You can add keywords here. We have many examples. You can check which keywords are missing. For example, red ones. They are not on the page, but Google suggests them. You add them and your position grows. This is also very cool. It works well, and you can check this for every URL. This is very correct and very convenient. However, in our case, these are test data, so they are not accurate and will not match what they should be. Update the data manually every day when you need to. Maybe it will be automatic one day, but there is no need for now. See you in the next videos. All right, let's dive into the last tool for today, which is checking out what our competitors are doing in Google searches. Step 1. You can look at what the competition is doing and do the same thing. Let's start by choosing a keyword. How about buy shoes and see what happens? We'll keep it general, okay? USA, but you can pick any country you like. It's really simple. After we add this keyword, we get some data. Now let's move over here where we can see all the stats for this search term. We can check these positions daily and see how much they change. It's super interesting, especially after a Google update. Sometimes every month or even every week, the whole search result can change completely, or websites might jump around in Google rankings, or sometimes they go back to previous positions. It all really depends on the niche. Sometimes certain lines are blocked because our Plerdy bot isn't allowed inside a website. Here we look at the available information, like the description and H1 title, which are clearly on top. We see how many words there are because this is really important, like the uniqueness percentage, word count, and any unnecessary words in the content. What can we spot here? Some pattern or a certain style that's used in this niche. We notice that actually there's not a lot of text needed, typically no more than 1,000 words. Like with Nike, they might have a bit more, but that's an exception. Really, I picked a very general search term with buy shoes. It's better to look at more specific searches. It's clear that not many sites get into this niche because there are some really big competitors already there. So we've reviewed and figured out how much content we need to write. Now let's check out our competitors and see what's happening at the top. Sometimes a competitor might be blocked, and we look at the top anyway. Occasionally, the main keywords are optional. For example, we have 44 instances of the keyword shoes, and here Nike has shoes even lower. Then again, shoes. And now we understand exactly how much content we need, the precise amount we need. So we roughly match this volume and write like our competitors. Sometimes the main keyword is only 1% or even 0.5%, but other times it's around 6%, and you really need to write it that way. Otherwise, you won't make it into the top 10. This next piece of information is super important. Whether you're writing on your own with a copywriter or using ChatGPT, it doesn't matter. You can look at your competitors' structure, see how they did it, how many H2 tags they used, what types they are, what they wrote. You can basically copy all that and add your own touch, or let ChatGPT help craft it, and boom, you've got your awesome structure all set up. Next, you add your content here. Let me show you. I'll type something like buy shoes online, and let's say it's online. We'll open the first one and copy some text we find there. Let's pretend we wrote that text. We add it here. It copies with images. Let it be. We save and hit refresh, and we have 90%. We can see how often shoes repeat. We're almost at the average number and not more. So we might need to boost it a bit. In other words, there are fewer. We have those keywords, but not enough. You see, we have 1, and there are between 3 to 54 times. Those are the keywords we need to add. Look for keywords we don't even have on the page. That way we optimize a really cool page, comparing it with competitors, and it works beautifully. We can also include both unique and non-unique keywords, see what's going on here, and the same with stop words and unique words. We see all that information clearly, which helps us understand what to adjust and improve, whether you're a copywriter or an editor. This is simple to do, but it's very important because Google's algorithms change, and you need to keep, as they say, your finger on the pulse to ensure everything is perfect and your rankings grow, saving you time and money. See you next time. We've covered all the tools in Plerdy. Thanks for your time. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Here's to high conversions.